Today we look at personality traits introverts, or people who like to spend alone, have to achieve phenomenal results. Also wondering how this links to Beyonce? Well, stay tuned to find out. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, you can achieve amazing things in life. However, people often portray introverts in a negative light when the reality is they have just as much to offer the world as extroverts. Today, we also look at Beyonce, whose stardom today actually belies her natural character, one of an introvert. By her school teacher, she was often described as being extremely shy, and herself admits to being naturally shy and uses a persona, Sasha Fierce, to help her when performing on stage. Now, before we get started on the personality traits of introverts, if you feel this video is of value, please consider subscribing for more content like this and share the video with friends or family to help people understand more about the people who like to spend time alone. In addition to this, I've recently done a collaboration with my friend Jerry at The Life Formula, to who I've lent my voice for his latest video on persuasion techniques. Please check out the video and Jerry's channel for fantastic and informative content. A link to the video will be posted in the description of this video. Now, let's look at personality traits of people who like to be alone. The first is that introverts value time. Time is the most valuable resource anyone has in their lifetime, and people who like to spend time alone often recognize this. They have an acute understanding of the value time can have, and more importantly, how important it is in achieving success. People who spend time alone often don't just respect their time either, but also the time of those in their lives. Understanding just as they want to best utilize their time, others may want to do the same. This is the same for Beyonce, who is well known for having been disciplined in how she utilizes her time during the day to focus on her passion, and aspects of her job that don't resonate with her personality are now outsourced to others who can do it more effectively. When people spend time alone, they are more likely to be contained within their own thoughts. This is critical to achieving success in life, as in those moments of self-reflection, people often learn the most about themselves and their desires, strengths and weaknesses. This is fundamental in being self-aware, which people who often spend time alone will appreciate. By being self-aware, you are more likely to understand what you want in life and consider the possibilities of how you can achieve the desired results. Going back to Beyonce, it's well known she stands for women's rights and empowerment, and has made this as much of a mission in her life as she has her singing career. The fact is, it's not without reflecting within that she would have found this purpose in life.
There was a time when a woman's opinion did not matter. If you were black, white, Mexican, Asian, Muslim, educated, poor or rich. If you were a woman, it did not matter. Less than 100 years ago, women did not have the right to vote. Look how far we've come from having no voice to being on the brink of making history. Again.
Continuing on with the theme of being self-aware, people who like to be alone often acknowledge and understand their own strengths and weaknesses. Why is this? Well, spending time alone, people will naturally spend time thinking about where they want to be or what they want to achieve, and will try to understand how to achieve that goal. One of the ways to do this is identify where you're strong and where you're less so. However, it's important to acknowledge that when there are areas to improve, the introverts may take longer than others to seek out help. People who like to spend time alone can be great problem solvers, and this can often be because of how they manage stressful situations. Often anxiety and stress is caused by stimuli coming from the outside that we either feel overwhelmed by or have no control over. Now, for those who like to spend time alone, their natural desire is to control their environment and not have too many others around them, naturally meaning that they stay more focused on the issue at hand and spend time thinking through solutions to a problem rather than getting caught up in the panic of the emotional states around them. People who like to often be alone often set and respect clear boundaries. This is not too surprising, given most introverted people like to be given space and therefore will give others that same space. This can work extremely well in close relationships because they are prepared to be there for friends and family when needed, but will have an understanding when the other person needs space to themselves and will often respect that. However, there can be moments when this can work against those who like to be alone, such as when they're in a position where they can't be alone. Beyonce also experienced this when she was a part of Destiny's Child. as the group often had to spend long periods of time together, sharing a single room and not having much time to themselves. Beyonce and the others had times of struggle during these times by their own admission, and for her especially, it would have been a challenge when she felt the urge to spend time alone.
When we got about 15, 16, that's when you become teenager and you have your issues. And that's when we realized that we were becoming different people, and it was two people and two people. And to make a long story short, when you're in a group and you want to be successful, it's impossible to be successful when you can't get along. And being in a singing group is like a marriage. You wake up, see each other, and for 12, 14, sometimes 18 hours out of the day, you're with each other. It's impossible to fake in front of the camera. You can only do that for so long.
You feel like a liar.
Yes, and eventually your harmonies, they don't sound as tight. Everything starts, the group is sacrificed.
Falling apart.
And that's what happened. And it was really, really sad, really disappointing, really devastating.
People who like to spend time alone can also be empathetic. This is not to say that extroverts aren't empathetic, but both have qualities that help them empathize with others in different ways. Focusing on introverts, empathy can be a sense of deep-rooted empathy, given they naturally spend a lot of time thinking introspectively and so may empathize with others on an emotional level, also known as affective empathy. People who spend time alone might be empathetic, but they don't depend on others too often. Most often, they are comfortable in mulling over a problem by themselves rather than setting an expectancy on others to provide for them. This is a great quality to have, as it can lead to greater focus and problem-solving skills, but as mentioned earlier, can lead them to be slow to take action. Going back to Beyonce's time in Destiny's Child, you can see that despite her being naturally introverted, she's very much the face of the group and considered the lead member. This isn't just forged by her self-awareness and natural leadership skills, but also because she always seemed confident in her own ability to be a star and not dependent on the group to make her one. People who like to spend time alone can also allow themselves to be guided by intuition. As they aren't often dependent on others much of the time, they are often likely to make decisions for themselves and not necessarily allow themselves to be guided by others. What this means is they have to spend time understanding who they are, being more self-aware, as this will naturally lead to greater self-confidence and to take action based on their instinct and intuition. This is a quality many successful entrepreneurs have had, including Beyonce, who has spent her career forging out her own path and direction, particularly after leaving Destiny's Child. People who are introverted are not afraid to spend time alone and are incredibly courageous. In life, one of the most difficult things anyone can do is spend time alone because they are forced to confront themselves, their successes, and most notably, their issues. This takes an amazing amount of courage to do, as often we don't want to think about our problems and spend time identifying where we need to improve. The introverted individual is capable of doing this and are more likely to lead to a more balanced and happier life. And this leads to the final point, that people who spend time alone can be some of the most self-loving and self-accepting people that you can meet. Now, to reiterate, we're not talking about people struggling with conditions such as shyness and anxiety, where there are deeper issues that need resolving, but rather people who are confident and naturally comfortable with being alone. They are more prepared to accept themselves because they are more self-aware and are likely to have spent time reflecting on what their purpose in life is. And that's the list. If you're naturally introverted and enjoy spending time alone, don't consider it a weakness, it's a gift that can help you achieve phenomenal things in life.
Progression as an artist is the most important thing for me. That is what success is for me. I feel like if I stay in one spot, I'm not doing my job, I'm not growing as a human being, and I'm wasting time. And I feel like I always want to do something different from what I did in the past. I always want to challenge myself. I always want to have that nervous ball in my stomach before I go on the stage. That's how I know I'm doing the right job, and it's something still exciting for me. And I always want to challenge the music industry. I feel like it's kind of my job to create the new up-tempos. It's kind of my job to set the tone and to be the example. So it's sometimes risky, but it's the only reason that I've been able to last for as long as I have in this industry, because it's really short-lived, and I feel like if people can predict your next move, it's just not interesting, and I'll be bored. So I'm bored. If I'm bored, everyone else is bored.
So, a quick question. Are you naturally introverted or an extrovert? Let me know in the comment section below. If today's video was informative, please consider sharing it with others and subscribe for more content like this.